Get ready to rock radio. Music you want to hear.
So we welcome Rick Parfitt, Status Quo. Hello, Rick.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. This is a really interesting film. I really enjoyed it, actually, funnily enough.
Well, I'm pleased.
I was watching it and I was thinking, you know, this reminds me of the old days when you used to have a chuckle and a good laugh, and there wasn't any swearing in it.
No.
There's some good tunes in it.
Well, the thing about it is, when we got the original script, which was about 7 years ago, it was called Care Factor Zero, and it was going to be shot in Bangkok, and it was a very dark story, and it was a bit cheesy, and it was a bit nasty, so we kind of let it drift onto the back burner because the script wasn't very, very good, and it kind of went away, and consequently 7 years later this new script arrived, and oh God, here we go again. Notwithstanding the fact that I really wanted to do a movie, but it's got to be the right one, obviously. And one reads this script, and you see that, you know, tramps are being pulled in by this organisation to play Russian roulette with a view to selling their organs on the black market, you know. And I thought, God, this is quite interesting. And then, you think then of filming it in Fiji, and then you add Francis and me into the whole plot, and it becomes quite a caper and quite a colourful adventure.
Well,
so on that premise, we went, let's go ahead, let's do it.
So Fiji was a bit of a test, and it wasn't Croydon or anywhere like that.
Well, I mean, you know, I'd never been to Fiji, and I was quite keen to go and see it and experience it as well, you know. And we went out there with the, you know, we didn't really know whether we could act or not. I mean, having seen Coronation Street, I thought, oh, God, cringeworthy, you know.
Oh, I thought you were good in 2005.
Well, I mean, I guess it's looking at yourself, you know. You're always self-critical, and other people go, no, you look fine, and you acted fine, and oh, God, I didn't, you know, what, blah, blah, blah. But we got out there, and we're surrounded by, you know, Craig Fairbrass and John Lovett.
Yeah, he was funny, wasn't he?
Oh, brilliant. So dry. Yeah. So dry.
Face.
He had some great stories to tell, and we had a lot of laughs with him. We generally had a lot of laughs through the movie. It was incredibly funny to do, and surrounded by a lot of good people who were helping us along, you know, and it was a most enjoyable experience, and I think the film's all right, seeing as we did it for sixpence, as it were, in this, you know, in the climate nowadays. To do a film for £1 million, £1.5 million is just unheard of, really.
Is that what you did it for?
Yeah.
Wow.
Shot the whole thing for lock, stock, and barrel for that sort of money.
You know, when it came through to me, I had lots of things to do. And I thought, I'll watch it. So I went out in the garden for a while, and then I thought, no, I'm going to go and watch it now. And, you know, like it was a chore. This is going to be a compliment, actually, Rick. I know I'm leading up to it, but when I sat down and started to watch it, had a glass of wine with me. Yeah. I chuckled. I laughed. The next day I thought, I want to watch that again. Oh,
well, that's great. That's great. Well, I did the acid test on myself because I live down in Spain, and I have a cinema at my house down there, and I thought, well, when I first got it, I thought, well, I'll invite a couple of the neighbours over, and we'll have a couple of glasses of wine, and I'll see what they think of it. So there was sort of 6 or 8 of us all sitting down there in my cinema, and I put it on, and I was really interested to see what they... And do you know what? They loved it. Yeah. They really liked it, and I thought, thank God for that.
I know.
And my kids out there, I've got twins, they're 5 years old, and do you know what? They love it. Yeah. Whether it's seeing Daddy on screen, I don't know. I think that's kind of fascinating. But, you know, they see me on the telly and all sorts. I think they genuinely, especially the underwater scene, they just love it when Daddy's... I'm a superhero indoors now, you know, beating people up and fighting off sharks, you know. So Daddy's a bit of a hero indoors at the moment.
In that scene where you're both swimming underwater, obviously... I was laughing because I was thinking, I bet I would have liked to have been in the studio for the dubbing session on that. I bet you had a few
Well, I tell you what we did. We put the top of a bottle in our mouths, just a plain water, top of a water bottle. Yeah. You feel an absolute well, you feel very stupid, but it kind of works.
Yeah. Was it Stuart St. Paul who had the idea of the film? Who's the
Yes.
producer? It was him, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you find that you were involved in the casting or not?
No, not at all.
No.
Oh no, nothing. Just purely the acting. Well, if you can call it acting, let's say being ourselves.
Yeah.
But surrounded, with Craig Fairbrass as well, who I now see regularly down in Spain. He's become a mate. And Laura Aikman,
Yes.
It's really, really good cast. We had a thoroughly good time, and can't wait to do it again. Fingers crossed.
Let's talk a little bit about the double album that's coming out. What is your favourite? I asked Francis this. What's your favourite track on that album?
Well, I have to say, at the moment, my favourite track is one I wrote called "Go Go Go." I remember when I was writing it, I wasn't thinking Quo, funnily enough. I was thinking screen. I was thinking action. I was thinking escaping. I was thinking running away, and how we're going to get out of this. And I was thinking all those things, and it kind of gives you a different mindset. And it's funny now, because when I listen to the soundtrack album, I can't quite get it. It's half the deal for me.
Right.
When I watch the film and then I put the music on that album to the film,
it works, doesn't it?
Or some of it anyway.
Yeah.
Then to me, it's the real deal.
Going back when you were growing up, who was the people that were influencing you?
Well, in the very first instance, I mean, it was Cliff Richard and the Shadows.
Right.
I was that kid sitting in school, not listening to what I was being taught, because I'd got a guitar by the time I was 10. By the time I was 11, I could play it. And I would sit there thinking, well, I want to be in show business. And I loved Lonnie Donegan, and I loved Cliff and the Shadows, and that was what was really responsible for making me play the guitar was Hank and Bruce,
Mm-hmm.
And I knew what I wanted to do. So my last couple of years at school, I just sat staring out the window, thinking, well, how am I going to do this when I leave school? And luckily enough, I secured a job at a holiday camp 6 weeks after I left school. I was sitting in a bar in a holiday camp playing my guitar. So things started off really well for me. I already sort of achieved what I wanted to do, which was being out playing my guitar to people. And then my aspirations rose to, I wanted to expand this, and I formed a trio, and we went on tour in Europe then, doing all the American air bases. And once again, I found myself, well, I'm here, I'm doing it, I'm And then we did a summer season at Butlins where I met up with the Spectres, who were this great little rock and roll band. And I thought, God, I want some of that. So the trio I was with, I got a bit frustrated with that then, and thought, well, I want to move upwards. So the trio disbanded, and I found myself doing nothing for a while. I became a baker's roundsman, and I was not really very happy about that. And then I got the call from the band, who I'd met at Butlins, said, would you like to join? We need an extra voice in the band. So, yeah, I'll join. So, and that was that, and that happened in 1967, 2 years after meeting them. They asked me to join, so I joined in 67, Matchstick Men was in 68, and here we are.
Did your life change completely when you had the #1 album in 73, Hello?
Well, yeah, obviously, life had expanded, and you found yourself with all these luxuries in life that you never ever really thought that you were going to have. Cars and lovely houses, even at that stage,
Right.
And of course, people adoring you on stage and giving you this amazing reaction through the 70s. It was just incredible. As we were breaking and as we were getting bigger, the reactions were getting more and more astounding, and it was just a magical time where we seemed to be getting bigger by the hour, let alone the day or the week or the year. We were just getting bigger all the time.
I had lunch with Russ Ballard and Bob Henrit on Monday.
Yeah.
And Bob was saying that he toured with Roger through the 70s, part of the 70s, and he was saying about Keith Moon, and he said, took a lot of thought to throw the televisions out the window, and I said, how do you mean? He said, no, what he used to do is he used to make sure that the cable was long enough, so when they threw it out the window, it was still on when it hit the pavement. Now, have you ever done anything like that?
Well, I've never actually thrown a television out of a window.
Right.
No,
So what have you done then?
Well, we've driven cars into lakes, and we've been fairly silly on the road. There's been floors that have been fairly badly wrecked because after the show every night we would have what we called Blackie's Bar.
Right.
And this were two road managers we had with us called the Black Brothers, and boy, oh boy, they could drink, and they made drinks up.
Yeah, they were professionals.
They were called Long Throws and Blue Skies, Crash Barriers, and somewhere documented in the Bula Quo documentary, I think you can see the menu for these drinks. And, every night, I mean, we used to, as I said to you earlier, we used to steal the plants from downstairs, and the road crew being the road crew, if there was a piano down there, they'd get it in the lift, and up it'd go to our floor. And we had Mike's place, which was Francis's room, where all the wong was being smoked. You had Magic Fingertips Club, which was my room, where everybody was massaging everybody, shall we say. And then you had Bob's Bar and Disco, which was Bob Young's our tour manager at the time. And everybody was just going fucking mad. All the doors were taken off their hinges. And somehow, in those days, you get away with it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine now? I mean, you'd have the police round, and the management would be up in arms.
Something just springs to mind on that. When you were doing all this, let's go back to 1999, and you had a full orchestra.
The Proms.
Was it just the Proms?
Yeah. That was the Proms in Antwerp.
All right.
And we did, I don't know, we did about 3 weeks in Antwerp every night at 18,000 people with a 100-piece orchestra behind us. Just incredible. That was an experience and a half, I tell you. But no, we didn't get up to any kind of those capers there. Backstage, there was a lot going on with the orchestra, because they're all mad.
Yes, of course.
All these, the brass section and the string section, they're all nutters, and they're all up on their feet and, waving their violins around in the air, and, it was a fantastic experience. But back at the hotel, nothing like that happened.
Who do you listen to at the moment, when you're not recording and you're not touring? And
well, I don't listen to very much, actually. I've got very kind of... the only time I really listen to anything is in the car. Because at home, for me, it's full on with the kids and stuff,
Yeah.
And living in Spain, we're mostly outside anyway.
Yeah.
We're either swimming or running around the garden playing something, you know. And we tend not to listen to very much at home, to be honest with you, because when the kids go to bed in the evening, me and the missus put the telly on, But in the car, we are big on ABBA at the moment.
Oh, right.
We are very big on ABBA. We're big on the Travelling Wilburys, and we're big on Tom Petty.
So you don't play Michael Holiday then?
No, but I used to love Michael Holiday.
Yeah, do you know you used to suffer from the most awful stage fright?
Yeah, I did hear something about that,
Yeah, and he was at Butlins as well,
Yes.
Fantastic.
Someday I'm going to write the story of my life. Yeah. I loved Michael Holiday. I thought he was great. But I liked David Whitfield as well.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I loved that era. I liked Jim Reeves. I liked Nat King Cole.
Oh.
And you see, I will listen to all that as well.
Yeah.
Only recently I've been listening to all those artists.
Yeah.
And I'll combine that with listening to AC/DC.
Yes.
Who I really rate as well.
Yeah.
And Tom Petty and Fleetwood Mac.
Love them.
That's all my sort of era. That's the sort of stuff I love.
You've been going 45 years with Quo. Do you reckon 50 years you'll make 50 years?
Yeah, I would think so, providing we don't die, because I think that probably is the only thing that would stop us, because it's fairly conclusive, really, when you die, and that's the end.
That is the end, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't see anything else stopping us.
Good.
Francis and I have said over the years, right, let's give it another 5 years and see what happens.
When you think about your routine this year and your touring routine, you're going to Germany, Netherlands, Denmark, Austria, Switzerland, Sweden.
You're making me tired.
God, I mean, you really do work hard.
We do.
And when you're on stage, you work hard too, don't you?
We do. That's what we are. That's how we've always done it. That's the kind of band we are. It's not. It doesn't come as a shock to us.
No.
It just doesn't. I mean, that's what we do, and that's how we do it.
What was going through your mind when you were waiting to go on stage in July 1985 for Live Aid?
I was extremely nervous. We'd never played at that time to an audience of 82,000, I think, were there. It was a beautiful day. And I was on the side watching this brass band marching up and down on the stage. And I thought, God, this is just awesome. By that time, I'd got to the stage where I'd become enough of a professional to know how to deal with nerves before you go out to any given audience, Yeah. But to going out to 82,000, opening this thing up worldwide, gave me quite a fright. It was awesome. Loved every second of it.
Do you remember how many people watched it through the world?
Well, billion. It was billions, wasn't it?
1.9 billion people across 150 nations were watching you.
Yeah.
Were you conscious of them? I know you say you were nervous with the crowd, or slightly nervous with the crowd, but were you conscious of the people watching in sort of Africa or Australia?
I was aware of it about halfway through our set.
Right.
I suddenly became aware of all these cameras down in front of us, and I was just trying to get over the awesomeness of it, getting on there and playing rocking all over the world, and then you start to relax a little bit, and it did dawn on me, God, how many people are watching this? It did dawn on me, but I mean, we were on there for 14 minutes, I think it was, and it went past like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, it was just all over before it had begun.
When you look back at your career, what was the actual highlight of your career?
Well, there's been so many, really. I mean, one is tempted to say Live Aid. One is tempted to say the reunion with the Frantic Four that we've just recently done. That was an awesome experience.
Yeah.
But, when I look back over the years, I remember when we were first on the radio, when Matchstick Men was played, Brian Matthews played us on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And I was living at home with my parents at the time. And I said, Mum, come in here. We're on the radio. And that was the first time I'd heard myself. And that to me was... And then when My Harmony came in, I'm actually singing on the fucking radio. And it was amazing for me. That was an incredible moment. And then doing Top of the Pops. I'm gonna be on Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
Because I'd watched it for years, Yeah. And suddenly I was going to be on it. That was amazing for me. I must tell you, I mean, one of the charities that we do is the Nordic Robins for autistic children.
Yeah.
And it was a little old tumbled down house in Kentish Town in London. And we did the Nebworth gig, and what a pleasure it was to go out and meet all the, see all the other artists that were on, and go on ourselves to do an hour, and have a thoroughly nice day, and go and play for an hour. And everybody says what saints we are, And, well, it doesn't take a lot out of my life to go out and have a nice day and play what I do for an hour to raise all this money. And collectively, between us, I mean, it was a huge amount of money with the DVDs and the spin-offs from it, whatever. And then I remember about, I don't know, a year later, perhaps, going into town and seeing this sparkling new building for these autistic children to learn. And I looked at it and I thought, wow, the Duchess of Fergie was opening it. And Gilmore was there and a few other people, and me and Francis, and you just think, well, I did this. I was part of this. And that was one of the most awesome moments. And I always will be. I went back there recently and saw this building again and thought, well, I helped build this, and that really is the greatest thing you can do.
Well, we can't top that at all.
No, you can't.
Thank you so much, Rick, for being
My
on the
pleasure.
show today.
Nice talking to you.
Best of luck with Bula Quo and the film. Love the film.
Brilliant,
And anybody that hasn't seen them, go and get tickets for their tour. You get onto their website, have a look at all of that. But Rick Parfitt, thank you very much. You've been listening to Peter Ross speaking to Rick Parfitt and Francis Rossi of Status Quo.
Get ready to rock radio.